Good morning, backyard kids. This month, we're learning all about knowledge. And not just knowing things, but how we can learn something and become to know something so that we can be better at whatever we do. Now, as we go back in today's story, I need you to think back and remember last month when we talked about the birth of another baby, not Jesus, but his cousin John. Now, Jesus' cousin John was born about 6 months before he was, and John was sent by God to help get people's hearts ready to hear the words that Jesus would share with them. So John would travel and preach, and his favorite place to preach was on the banks of the Jordan River. And he would stand there and he would preach and he would talk to anybody who would stop and would listen. And people would come from all over to hear the things that he had to say. And many times they would ask to be baptized. And so John would do that for them. He would take them down and baptize them in the Jordan River. And that dipping into the water and coming back out signified that they had accepted these truths that John was teaching them and taking this symbol as a change that would happen in their lives going forward. Now, some of the religious leaders and other people began to wonder if maybe John was actually the Messiah that they had read about in prophecy. But when they went and talked to him about this, he assured them that no, he was merely a helper, someone who was sent ahead to help prepare the way for the true Messiah. He told them, yes, I baptize with water. But when the Messiah comes, he will baptize with the water, but also the Holy Spirit. Now, around this time, one day when John was preaching, Jesus showed up. He came to see John because he wanted to be baptized. And when he told John what he wanted, John was like, no, I'm not worthy to do that for you. But Jesus assured him that he needed to do it because this was part of God's plan for his life. So John finally agreed, and he dipped Jesus back into the Jordan River. And as Jesus came up out of the water, God sent the Holy Spirit in the form of a dove to be right above Jesus' head. And then God's voice could be heard coming from the heavens. And he told everyone there that could hear that this was his son and that he was very pleased with him. Now, after this, Jesus began gathering his own helpers, and he began traveling and teaching and preaching, and he began baptizing as well. And some of John's followers started to think, well, what's going on here? Is he trying to take over? But John reminded them that there was room for all of them to teach and to preach, and it was their role to be secondary, to be helpmates, and to help pave the way for the ministry that Jesus was starting. Now, what I want you to get out of this story, guys, it's a really cool story with a lot of really cool elements. I mean, how often do you hear the voice of God speak from the heavens? But what I want you to remember is this: when you learn something new, it can change you. And all these people that John was baptizing were learning about the love of God. And as they accepted that in this new knowledge that they had, in this new relationship with God, they were baptized as a sign that they were changed. So remember that, guys. That's our bottom line for this week. When you learn something new, it can change you.